Imagine running as fast as you can, pushing yourself to the absolute limit, only to realize you haven't moved an inch. Biologists call this the Red Queen effect, and it perfectly describes the trap most modern factories fall into, trying to solve complex problems by simply working harder. Let's look at a real-world example. A food packaging company was losing millions to dented cans. Their solution was brute force. They hired 10 extra workers to stand at the very end of the conveyor belt and manually throw away the damaged goods. Catching errors at the finish line feels like quality control, but it is an expensive illusion. By the time a dented can reaches the end of the belt, the company has already wasted the metal, the food, and the electricity to seal it. In Japanese manufacturing, this destruction of value is known as muda, or waste. To understand how to eliminate this waste, we must look to post-war Japan. With a decimated economy and a severe lack of raw materials, companies like Toyota were forced to operate in an environment of extreme scarcity. Now compare that to this image of an American automotive plant from the same era. Giants like Ford were running massive, resource-heavy assembly lines, churning out enormous volumes of identical cars to drive down costs. American workers were producing 9 times more per person than the Japanese. But when a Toyota delegation toured these facilities, they noticed a critical flaw in this high-volume approach. The lines ran continuously, regardless of actual demand, leading to severe overproduction and warehouses crammed with unsold inventory. Toyota couldn't afford to play that game. Without the capital or materials to support such massive waste, they began an iterative process of building a system that functioned on different logic, one that prioritized resource survival over raw volume. The first step was reversing the entire logic of assembly. Instead of the traditional method of pushing materials down a line as fast as possible, they created a demand-driven pull system. The true architect of this new flow mechanic was Toyota executive Taiichi Ohno. Ohno developed the logic for this flow by watching an American grocery store, like the one in this photograph. He observed that a customer only takes what they need off the shelf, and the store clerk only replaces the exact amount of inventory that was just removed. Applying this to the factory created just-in-time production. Instead of the traditional push method piling up massive stockpiles, a pull system flows in reverse. A final order triggers a signal backwards, a Kanban card, telling upstream stations to produce exactly what is needed. Running a factory with zero safety stock is efficient, but it creates a vulnerability. If a single defect occurs and the line keeps moving, a tiny mechanical error quickly turns into a mountain of ruined product. To protect this fragile flow, Toyota relied on a concept developed decades earlier by company founder Sakichi Toyoda. He called it jidoka, or automation with a human touch. Before building cars, the Toyota family built automatic textile looms. Toyota designed this specific machine to instantly halt itself if even a single thread snapped, preventing it from churning out rolls of defective fabric. Applying that loom logic to our food packaging plant changed everything. Instead of paying 10 workers to catch errors at the end of the belt, they installed a single pressure sensor directly onto the sealing machine. The millisecond the pressure is slightly off, the machine automatically cuts power. It halts itself and triggers a loud factory alarm called an andon, forcing the engineering team to resolve the root cause immediately. By resolving the root cause at the source, the factory earns the ability to move faster because it has mastered the ability to stop. Large quality control departments serve as a visible record of failure on the factory floor. They signal that the manufacturing process is incapable of sustaining its own quality. Quality must be built directly into the process at the source. It cannot be inspected into a product after the fact. Simply buying modern sensors and hanging alarm cords from the ceiling will fail if the organization lacks a stable foundation. Look at this diagram of the Toyota production house. The twin vertical pillars of just-in-time and jidoka can only stand if built on the wide bedrock of haijunka. If management cannot create a leveled schedule, the entire structure falls apart. And that structure is held together by an invisible cultural requirement: psychological safety. The system only works if the lowest-level employee is fully empowered to pull the alarm cord and stop a multi-million-dollar factory without fear of retaliation. It requires managers to leave their offices and stop trying to run a business through spreadsheets. In the Toyota system, problems are solved on the actual factory floor, using raw facts instead of opinions. The Toyota production system replaces the brute force of overproduction with a relentless focus on human effort and the elimination of waste. It is a way of operating that values human time enough to refuse even a single minute of wasted effort.